Hi, my name is Byron.
And I'm Kathleen. This is our tiny home, the Two Fishes. We live in Mills River, North Carolina at the Oconee Bell Tiny Home Community.
Our home is 10 by 36 and it was built by minimalists in Quebec, Canada.
We moved into our house in 2022 after retiring, and we named her the Two Fishes after a favorite childhood vacation spot from my growing up years in Kenya, East Africa.
And as a marine biologist, I studied fish for 37 years. Here at Oconee Bell, we're allowed to do what we want around 15 feet around the home, so we can landscape, put on a deck, put on a shed. That's one thing we really like about Oconee Bell. And our rent here is $5.92 a month. And that includes water and sewer and grounds maintenance. This house is wired to run off a generator, so we have a small generator, so if we ever have a power outage, say in the wintertime, we have this generator, we could run some basic appliances.
The addition of a deck was really a game changer for us. Why don't you come on up and take a look? This is Mabel. She's our 11-year-old mix and has been a great companion in our new home. One of the things that we enjoy is being able to host people, and so with the deck we are able to seat about 6 to 8 people around this table, patio table, and share a meal together.
We had the deck built because we live in a tiny house and we love to be outside, so this deck is 10 by 40. And about half of it is covered, so it allows us to expand our outdoor living a few more months out of the year, as well as have many guests over.
Come on in and check out our home. Welcome. Our home is about 370 square feet, 36 by 10 wide. In designing our home, we knew that we were planning for the long term. Some of the things that we tried to do were to future-proof it. As we get older, we wanted to be able to navigate through the house without obstructions, and so we tried to keep at least a 3-foot walkway throughout the entire home, and we also knew for sure that we wanted a main floor bedroom so that we wouldn't have to be climbing steps in the night. The other thing that we really wanted to do is to have 2 ways of getting into or out of the house, because we didn't want to have to escape through a window if there was a fire. And so you'll notice, in addition to this door that we just came through, there's another door at the other end of the house.
Working with minimalists and building this home was a great experience. They listened to our ideas and then we listened to theirs, and they had a lot of experience to offer.
Good morning from our A-frame cabin. A big part of our simple living lifestyle for me is slowing down to focus on my overall well-being. So that's meant building daily self-care routines, from yoga and weight training to drinking my AG1. Now I'm ready to start the day feeling at peace and energized. Christian and I, we try hard to eat healthy, but you just can't get everything you need from your diet. AG1 created a 75 ingredient formula that fills nutrient gaps to support body, brain, and gut health. Simply scoop, mix, and drink. Seriously, one of the best things you can do for your health in 60 seconds. But the fact that AG1 tastes good makes it a healthy habit that I can stick with. Rest easy knowing it's NSF certified for sport to ensure high quality and safety. Ready to level up your health? Visit the link in the description to get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase.
We're currently in our living room. This is where we hang out most of the time. We have a cabinet here for our office supplies, a cabinet for our shoes. So the builder offered this 2-foot bump out. So we suggested a desk, but we also needed a table to sit at. So they found this IKEA table that seats 4, and they built the desk around that table. So we can pull this table out when we want to seat 4 here in the living room, say on a rainy day. So we have numerous heating and air sources here in this house. We have a mini split here. We also have a wood stove, which we really enjoy. So this is a cubic mini grizzly stove. It works great. It uses small wood, about this size, which I split myself, and it will heat this entire home easily. The reason we have these multiple heat sources is so if we have power outage, we still have a heat source. This is our third couch that we've had in this home. The first couch was a beautiful couch, had storage underneath for linens, as well as created like a queen-size bed. However, it sat like a rock. It was not comfortable at all. So we traded that out, and we eventually found this one on Facebook Marketplace. It's secondhand, but it's been a great and comfortable couch. So one change we did to this couch is we added some caster wheels. So sometimes we wheel it around so we can watch a movie. In addition to that, we built a drawer to store some of our shoes. You can see here. It's been a great addition to the house because boots in particular take up a lot of space. The TV is on a mount that pulls down, so this allows it to be above this window, but pulls it down to a level that we can enjoy a TV. So one problem in a lot of tiny houses is excess moisture, and one thing we liked about Minimalist is they offer the Braulberg air exchange, and there's one on each end of the house, so it's constantly changing air out within the house, and we've never had any issues with moisture. Most days, most meals, Kathleen and I eat here in the bar. It's a great place just for the two of us.
We wanted to make sure that we were using all of the space underneath this island section, and so there's a big cabinet where we can store things like hot water kettle and a waffle iron and things like that that you don't use every day but are bulky, and so they're down there. As far as space allocation within the home, we allocated about 8 feet to the living room, 12 feet for the kitchen, and then 8 and 8 for the bathroom and bedroom. So you know that we prioritize the kitchen, and that's for a lot of reasons. We enjoy cooking, we like to bake and distribute things to our neighbors and have people over for company, so a big kitchen was really helpful to us. We also had a lot of kitchen stuff. I admit I'm a dish nerd, and so it was really essential that we have enough space for storage of the things that we enjoy using. As you can see, we chose an enormous sink. Part of the reason for that was so that we wouldn't have any trouble doing dishes. We did not allocate any space at all to a dishwasher, so it's the two of us, and this way we can stand here side by side and one can wash and rinse and the other can dry, no problem. I also love that we have this window right over the sink, so I can look out and often have the privilege of seeing hummingbirds come to our feeder right outside the window. And we also have neighbors that have a young daughter, and seeing her come out of the house dressed in her little rain slicker in the morning is just the cutest thing ever. So we have a lot of joy just looking out this window in the kitchen. I'll also mention that one of the challenges was finding places for everything that we felt was important to us. With my background being from Africa, I have some drinking glasses here that have African animals etched in them, and that was a key thing from my home and growing up years that was important to me. So you just make space for the things that matter. This stove is a Furrion. The reason our builder helped us choose it is because of the fact that it's rated for RVs. So I guess you would call it an RV stove and oven. It is a decent size. We have been able to cook a small roast in there, and I do quite a bit of baking, and that's not really been a problem. A magnetized knife rack is really handy for holding things close by. The hood vent has been incredible. We use it all the time, especially when frying something like bacon and it smells up the whole house. You just don't really want your towels smelling like bacon the next day, so this is incredibly valuable. It's a Broan, and it's got incredible power. It really sucks the smells right out. It is a direct vent to the outside. I also just wanted to mention that there were some little bits of space that our builder made accessible to us. They could have just closed that in and it would have looked tidy, but then I wouldn't have had any place to put platters. So that's been really handy. In the same kind of way, this space again seems small, but we put cutting boards in there. And then on the bottom side, this similar kind of space holds all of our cookie sheets and things like that. The backsplash was made for us by Muralux, a Canadian company, and it is enamel-coated aluminum. The image that we had applied to it was something that we found on Shutterstock, and it was a repeating pattern. The reason I chose it is because I had really wanted to put in tile that looked like sea glass. And this is the closest thing that we could come to that would give that impression of sea glass, but it wouldn't be subject to cracking or the grout, especially cracking during transport. It's super easy to clean. You can just use any kind of multi-surface cleaner on it. You can put whatever image you would like to have on it. So if you wanted, pebbles, or if you wanted a rainforest or fish under the sea, whatever it is that you want, you could have applied to it to really suit your personality and style. On this side of the kitchen, we have a space here where we were able to store all of our cleaning supplies, such as a mop and a broom and a vacuum cleaner. The refrigerator that we found that I really took a lot of delight in is by Unique, and it's called Classic Retro. We were able to choose it in this lovely shade of green, and it has the refrigerator on the top and the freezer on the bottom. Something that I really love about the freezer is that it has 3 drawers, and they're different depths, so shallower things can go here, and then this one is a little bit deeper. So we can really hold a lot of ice cream in our freezer, and that is wonderful. This cupboard was really what sold me on Minimalist from the beginning, because it's their utility cupboard. Now what you see is we've added some shelves on the top, and so that has given us a place for bigger appliances. But down in the bottom is where all the utilities are, like our hot water heater, the water filter. There's even a sensor that will shut off the water system as a whole if there's any flooding that is detected by the sensors in the floor. When I saw images of their utility cupboard and everything was so beautifully labeled and it told you what goes where, that's when I knew I really wanted to choose Minimalist as our builder. Next to the utility closet is a pull-out pantry, and so this holds an amazing amount of foodstuffs. Grateful for that. This little space here was a surprise to us. It was not something that we had intended to have. I had envisioned wider drawers in this space, but the fact that we have it gives us a place to put our step stool, which we find is really handy for reaching things up in the upper cabinets, especially in our bedroom. So we're very grateful that we ended up with this odd little space right here. There are additional drawers here for storing dishes and whatnot, and this is the most important thing for our dog Mabel. It's her treat jar. She will literally sit right here and stare at it until we oblige. We've been together about 30 years now. We are celebrating our 28th anniversary this fall. Really, our first date was here in Pisgah Forest, so this is kind of a full circle thing for us to have moved back to this area.
Kathleen and I retired in 2022. She was a nurse for 40 years, and I was a marine biologist for 37 years. We retired from Charleston, South Carolina, and moved to Mills River, North Carolina. We both love to hike and backpack, and I love to fly fish. So it's a great place to be.
So we've been talking about the possibility of living in a tiny house since about 2018. We had been watching videos of them for years before that, just more out of interest, fascination. But we really started thinking that this could be a possibility for us in our retirement years around 2018. And then in 2020, I got laid off, and that's really what sealed the decision for us. Because partly we wondered if we were going to be able to pay our bills with only one salary for those however many months it was going to be. During that spring and summer, we just made the decision that I was going to work for us and try to do everything we could to downsize our belongings and be ready to sell our house. So we had, I'll call it a big house, over 2,000 square feet in Charleston.
We had been in that house for 17 years, so we had a lot of things. It was easier for us to release those things, but we found it difficult to downsize because people didn't want your things. That was a challenge.
Behind the kitchen is the bathroom. There's a sliding barn door here that divides the kitchen from the bathroom. It also is our laundry room, so a full-size washing machine, front-loading obviously, and the dryer. Lots of built-in cabinets for things like this is our additional pantry space, and then this is all linens. So plenty of room for storing those items in addition to drawers underneath. We love having the full-size washing machine so that it efficiently washes our clothes. We've heard of some issues from people who have the combo units, and we didn't want to allocate several hours to that process, so this just speeds things up a little bit. We also use this as our laundry basket, so whenever we change out of dirty clothes, we just toss them right in here, and then when it gets full, we do a load. In the bathroom, one of the features that we chose was the cedar ceiling, and we did that because we didn't want for there to be any issues with humidity with the shower. We also have a fan, which helps to eliminate any water issues. And our towel bar is heated, so after we take our morning showers, this stays heated through the day, dries our towels. Again, we don't have issues with moisture. The vanity that we chose has ample room for storage underneath. A cool thing that our builder did was to build around the drainage plumbing, and so we have these lovely full-size drawers instead of two on either side. And a combination of shallow drawers and deep drawers is really important because some things just don't fit in one or the other. Behind the mirror is a medicine cabinet, and I love that we chose the mirror that has the lighting in it because it's just easy for putting on makeup or whatever in the morning. Back to my statement about future proofing, we wanted to have a shower that was big enough that someone could assist with showering if needed in the future. This has room for a little seat, and it's got wide enough space here that you could maneuver if you had a walker or something. The backsplash, as you'll notice, is the same as in the kitchen. We just had Muralux go ahead and make the big panels for the shower in the same pattern so that it would provide continuity and also just bring the color scheme through the rest of the house. So we have a pocket door on this end of the bathroom, and that is lovely as long as it stays closed. However, one of the issues that we found when we moved into the house is that the pocket door, maybe because the house is not exactly level, wants to open on you, and that's uncomfortable, especially for guests. So I have to hand it to my genius husband. He came up with this idea that involves a dowel. And so the dowel goes through this little hole, and as long as you push it through, a person can remove it either from in the bathroom or from in the bedroom. So in the morning, he can get up, do his thing in here with the door shut, and I don't hear any noise at all. And then I can remove it from the other side and have access to the rest of the house. So brilliant design. And last is our bedroom. In the design of our house, we knew that we wanted to have space to walk all the way around the bed. You wouldn't be able to do that with a walker, but a person who had that kind of equipment could get into this side of the bed, for example. But we wanted to be able to walk all the way around the bed in order to be able to make it and not have to lay on top of it while you're trying to put the corners over on a fitted sheet. So we have a good 1.5 feet on either side and about 6 inches to 12 inches here at the foot of the bed. A couple important decisions that we made were that we discovered there's such a thing as an RV short queen mattress, and since we're both height challenged, that was perfect for us. And this is actually an RV short queen that we have on our bed. And then this is actually a kangaroo bed, so it sits high on a sturdy wood frame that we had custom built by a friend. Then we can store things underneath the bed when we're not needing them, very frequently. We each have our own closet, so it's a his and hers. And within the closet, there's plenty of room for hanging clothes, as well as drawers for all of our folded or rolled clothes. We've found that rolling things up tight really makes much more efficient use of the space. And so we're strong advocates of rolling our clothes now. That was something new for us. I'll also point out above cabinets, we made a decision that this would be primarily allocated to photos. We have a whole lot of photos from our life together and our daughters, and we didn't want to have to, get rid of them. So where do you put things? So we planned that those cupboards would be a place we could store them. On that side of the bedroom, there are cabinets that are quite deep that actually go into the loft space, but the cupboard doors are on this side so that we can use a little step stool and reach into them and pull out bins of our off-season clothes.
So we have a loft that's 12 foot by 10 foot. We mostly use it for storage, but we do have a queen size trifold mattress, which is available for when our daughter comes home or we have a guest. Before we started paring down, we had about 2,000 books, and now we've narrowed it down to a few dozen, and we keep those also in the loft. We also bought these steer baskets, and they store things like the dog's goods, flashlights, things like that. So we sold our home in 22, and that allowed us to use cash to buy this home. So that put us in a good financial position.
The cost of this home was more than what we spent for the first home that we ever bought. That may seem crazy, but what we planned for in the building of this home was that it will be our forever home. So even if we should decide to change locations, we can do that and we can take our home with us. So our daughter is currently living in Colorado. If she decides to make that her forever home, then we could move that direction. You can't do that when you have a home that's on a foundation. That was really a large part of why we decided to put all the features that we really wanted in this home so that we'd be happy with it for years and years to come.
Well, when we first moved in, I was surprised how diverse the neighborhood is and how much community there would be. But it is we have incredible community here. People always look out for each other, need an extra hand, borrow a tool, advice on repairing a tiny house. The knowledge is here, and they're usually willing to give it.
And we never feel crowded. We never feel like we're looking in each other's windows, which I think is something unique to this place. A couple months ago, I had a health crisis where the electrical conduction system of my heart stopped working. And so I was in 3rd-degree heart block and really just steps away from death. I passed out in the field walking our dog and then again in our home. And it was one of our neighbors, Joyce, who was the one who came and called 911 for me. After I was able to make the trek out to the ambulance, when I stepped out on the deck, there was a semicircle of our neighbors just outside waiting to see what was happening and to basically wish me well. And that meant so much, just to know that we were not alone. Byron happened to be out of town at the time, and if it hadn't been for Joyce coming in and calling 911, it would have had a very different ending. That community that we experience here is really precious, and when you're living on your own property, that has its advantages, but you don't have that kind of community to where you know that somebody's got your back.
I think tiny home living is a great option for a lot of people, and I just wish more elected officials could see that.
We're trying to follow what's happening in different locations as to the legality of tiny home living. One of the reasons why we ended up here is because we had an offer from friends to park our tiny home on their property just outside of Charleston. But in Charleston County, it's not legal to live in a tiny house full-time. That meant that we could do it, try to sort of fly under the radar. However, it was going to mean that at any moment somebody could come along and say, you're not allowed to live here in that. And we didn't want to have that instability. We didn't want to kind of live with that fear. And so we're trying to just sort of do our part, anything we can to encourage the acceptance of tiny homes as a fiscally viable option. It just seems as though in this country it shouldn't be that you have to live in a big house, which you're really sort of pressed to do. And we think that it all boils down to money, that it's about property taxes. And if you put a big house on this land, then you're going to receive more in the way of property tax than if you allow someone to park a tiny house on it. So we're really just committed to trying to do anything we can to move that conversation forward and legalize the tiny house option.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.